Good evening, everyone. Today is Friday, August 8th, 2025. This is your update for Monday the 11th. All right, let's go. Well, as far as new setups, there's no new setups going into Monday. Not because conditions are bad, just because I'm not seeing a lot of setups that I like. And the NASDAQ's right at all-time highs, so we should see some setups, obviously, on pullbacks or sector rotation. A little bit of bump stops in here, better than poking the eye, a couple of these, but overall, obviously not a fantastic day. Started better than it ended. We'll get to all that in just 1 second. Just a few stocks in here, nothing I feel like we need to go after going into Monday. So let's just let things shake out a little bit and see what the market provides. Let's take a look at the portfolio, and then we'll drill down, obviously, to overall market, then the sector action. First of all, ABCL, this was a tricky one, and I personally didn't get in, not because I'm some master genius and knew it was reverse or whatever. I was just caught up in some other stuff right around the open, and by the time I looked at it, it had already begun to reverse, and so that's why I didn't take the trade. This was a tricky call because it did have some follow-through from the gap before it imploded. So let me know if you took the trade, and I've already talked to a few of you, but let me know if you took it, and let me know how'd you get your entries and etc. on that one. The idea is not to try to beat the system by buying in cheaper. It's just if you have a reversal like this, you want to actually avoid the setup. But again, that was a tricky one because it did follow through from the opening gap. If it gaps up like right above the entry, or well above the entry, I should say, and then comes right back in, then you would look for a second entry above that high. Hopefully that made sense. Anyway, BTM down a little today. Continues to consolidate by trading sideways. You know me, I sure like to see it take off and not look back. KGC, brand new highs there. We're going to bump the stop up just a little bit. KTOS, not a bad day there. We're going to also bump the stop on that one, breaking out to all-time highs once again with a little bit of vigor. SLDP, bit of a bummer coming back in. Obviously, on your stops just in case, you know, routine. TFPM coming in a little, but it's had a pretty nice breakout as of late. TGen, decent rally there. Continues to consolidate just off of all-time highs, just a little bit off of all-time highs, and that's always obviously a good thing, especially in an IPO. VG continues to disappoint. On your stops, just in case. We're getting fairly close to the stop on that one. Now, sometimes when you close poorly like this after a big wide-range bar, you will get an opening gap reversal, so keep an eye out for that. Should it reverse and go straight back up and then stop out below the low of the day, provided, of course, that is below the stop. Let's take a look at the overall market again, and let's drill down. First of all, S&P 500. Better than the poke in the eye, up about 0.75%, and it's right at these all-time highs, so I'm not going to argue with that as a trade guy. You know me, I sure like to say breakout and not look back, but so far so good. We tagged that 30, and we've had a nice little Landry light above it so far. Ditto for the NASDAQ, little tag of that 30 EMA, and then we've continued nicely higher. All-time highs there, so that's much better than a poke in the eye. Rusty 2000, up a smidge. It's got its work cut out for it still, shorter term and longer term. You know me, I sure like to see it get past all this fluff and not look back for a while. Ethereum had a decent day. The ETF, it looks like it's trying to break out here, so that's we could see some opportunities there fairly soon for those who trade crypto. Gold, the commodity, up a little bit, not too far from the top of the range. Gold stocks didn't set the world on fire, but did manage to close at brand new highs. So far, so good there. Software down a little questionable here because we really didn't get past this prior peak with vigor. So we're paying attention to that and other areas, of course, like the financials, which have been a bit of a bummer. They've stalled out after trying to break out to brand new highs, and we're below this 30 EMA, obviously, and now we have some overhead supply to overcome. You know, routine, one day at a time. Metals overall, bam, winning. Continue to just fly out of that Landry light pullback. I wish it always worked this well. I really do, because that's just absolutely textbook and beautiful. So far, so good there. Uranium has been a little questionable lately. It's losing a little steam. There's the miners. You can see a little bit of a tail high today coming back in, but beginning to look like a head and shoulders, or continue to look like a head and shoulders top. The good news is some other areas, such as these rare earths, such as lithium, are continuing to rally nice in here. So far, so good there. Take a look at semiconductors. Not a bad day. I like to see us clear these prior peaks decisively, but hey, we're just shy of all-time highs, so I'm not going to argue with that. I think that's it for tonight. Oh, let's take a look at the Finch real quick. The Finch just kind of hanging in there at high levels, consolidating. It looks pretty good, even though it's lost some momentum as of late. It might just be catching its breath. Again, the bigger the base, the bigger the launch into space. So maybe it's just launching, building the base. I think that's it. Everybody have a fantastic night. If you have any questions, you know the routine. I will check in throughout the weekend on Facebook, so feel free to hit me up there. Everybody have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you on Monday, if not sooner. Thank you so much.